isn't it?
Today was so much fun.
It is really fun.
I'm so
exhausted,
hungry.
though.
Same.
Yeah, I'm really hungry right now.
Wait, where's the food?
Does this ring a bell? It's time for a Devo!
You know, for me, one of my favorite parts about camp is coming down to the stream. I feel like every year there's always kids and sometimes counselors who end up giving their lives to Christ, and they come down here and we'll gather around, sing some songs, and they'll get baptized and give their lives to Christ. Well, today we're not talking about that, but we're talking about an instance that dealt with water. It was a time when Jesus walked on water. Now, the passage comes from Matthew 14. And come with me. Go ahead and read it together. I'm sure a lot of you have read this story, maybe with your parents or with friends or Sunday school. But this was a miracle that was between Jesus and Peter, right? He wasn't healing anybody. He wasn't forgiving anyone of their sins. He was simply walking on water. This was proof that this was Jesus Christ. So if you have your Bibles, open up with me to Matthew 14, verse 22. Here's what it says. Immediately he, Jesus, made disciples get into a boat and go before him to the other side, while he dismissed the crowds. And after he had dismissed the crowds, he went up on the mountain by himself to pray. When evening came, he was there alone. But the boat by this time was a long way from the land, beaten by the waves, for the wind was against them. And the forewatch in the night, and he came to them walking on the sea. So do you see this? Jesus is legitimately walking on water. His disciples had gone out after he had just taught at a crowd, feeding the 5,000. And they don't recognize him. Here's what it says. But when the disciples saw him walking on the sea, they were terrified and said, "It's a ghost." And they cried out in fear. But immediately, Jesus spoke to them, saying, "Take heart, it is I, don't be afraid." And Peter answered him, "Lord, if it is you, command me to come to you on the water." He said, "Come." So Peter got out of the boat and walked on water and came to Jesus. But when he saw the wind, he was afraid and began to sink and cried out, saying, "Lord, save me." And Jesus immediately reached out his hand, took hold of him, saying to him, "O you of little faith, why do you doubt?" Then they got in the boat, the wind ceased, and those in the boat worshipped him, saying, "Truly, you are the Son of God." So like I said, this wasn't any miracle that dealt with healing. It was just simply Jesus walking on water. And the disciples recognized that. Peter went so far as actually walking on water, saying, "Jesus, if it's you, command me to come." I mean, how many of you have ever come up to something like this, or maybe your friend's pool, and said, "Lord, command me to walk on water"? You try, and almost 9 times out of 10 you fall. For me, it's been 10 times out of 10. I've tried that so many times, and I feel as though I have no faith. In fact, I think of the times in the Bible where Jesus says, if you have the faith of a mustard seed, just a mustard seed, then you can move mountains. He says, if you just ask whatever you wish, it will be, and believe it will be given to you. And have you ever done that? Have you ever asked God to do something for you and he doesn't do it? Or perhaps you tried doing some crazy thing in faith and it doesn't work. And see, the thing is, maybe Jesus wants us to believe in him, but in a way that doesn't look as impressive as walking water. Perhaps Jesus wants us to take care of our parents. Maybe he wants us to love those who have no friends at our school or at our churches. Maybe Jesus wants us to, take care of our siblings and work hard with what we have. And it's not walking on water, but when you step out in faith and obey him like that, God can do some pretty miraculous things. So whatever you do this week, believe in God. Do what He wants you to do, and He will bless you. He loves you, and might not walk on water, but we'll change the world that way.
Hey y'all, that last Devo was the scoop.
It's time to worship.
It's time to worship.
It rained and poured for 40 daisies, daisies. Rained and poured for 40 daisies, daisies. Almost drove those animals crazy, crazy children of the Lord. So rise and shine and give God the glory, glory. Rise and shine and give God the glory, glory. Rise and shine and give God the glory, glory, children of the Lord. The sun came out and dried up the landy, landy. Sun came out and dried up the landy, landy. Everything was fine and dandy, dandy, children of the Lord. So rise and shine and give God the glory, glory. Rise and shine and give God the glory, glory. Rise and shine and give God the glory, glory, children of the Lord. Now this is the end of our story, story. This is the end of our story, story. Everything is hunky dory, dory, children of the Lord. So rise and shine and give God the glory, glory. Rise and shine and give God the glory, glory. Rise and shine and give God the glory, glory, children of the Lord.
What I love about Ponderosa is being challenged.
What I love is all the great worship. What I love is the community that we build.
What I love is the friends that I make.
We love Ponderosa.